everyone, it's me again, and I've picked up a few new subscribers, so I just wanted to say if you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is April K. I'm an indie author and I write young adult for the most part. I like paranormal, fantasy, science fiction, horror, and you will usually find at least a hint of romance in my stories because I'm a big old sap and I just love love, so I'm not doing a writing vlog this time. I just actually wanted to show off some books that I am really excited to have. I love writing like craft books. I love books about the craft of writing, I mean. My current favorite right now is Save the Cat Writes a Novel. I bought it last year sometime, I want to say in April or May, and then I used it for the July session of Camp Nano. The Save the Cat method is not perfect, but like having the beat sheet really helped me. I recommend Save the Cat to anyone, but this time I am going to be talking about a series of books. The authors are Angela Ackerman and Becca Puglisi? I probably should have learned how to say her last name, but it is what it is. I will flash their names on the screen. And they have a series of books called Writers Helping Writers, and I only have 3. The others like kind of interested me, but not as much as the 3 that I have, because when it comes to writing, my favorite thing is characters. I'm all about characters, creating them, building their backstory, building their personality, and then finally having them interact on the page. That is my absolute favorite part about writing. So the 3 books I picked up are more geared towards characters, whereas some of the others I saw were, like they had some for settings. Like one was the urban setting Thesaurus, which is a writer's guide to city spaces. And one was the rural setting Thesaurus, which is a writer's guide to personal and natural places, which I was interested in, but not as much as these. So, what I'm going to be talking about are the Emotion Thesaurus, a writer's guide to character expression, the Positive Trait Thesaurus, which is a guide to character attributes, and the Negative Trait Thesaurus, which is a guide to character flaws. The Emotion Thesaurus, I don't know if you could really tell. I bought this one used on eBay. It was the first one I got because I wasn't sure if I would like it, and I'm very cheap, so I went used. And then these 2 I did buy brand new from Amazon. I have marked some examples just to give you like kind of a glimpse into these books and to show you how having these books I think will help me in the future. So first I'm going to start with the Emotional Thesaurus. The Emotion Thesaurus. So I picked an emotion that I don't want to say I have trouble writing. My characters always kind of react the same way when they're feeling this emotion, and that's not good. Like it's relief. I should have said that. I picked relief to share with you because when my characters are relieved, it's always like they let out the breath they were holding or their shoulders slumped, but there's only so many times different characters can do that without it just being like, oh, you know, this person's doing it too. Great. So I decided to look up relief in here. So it gives you the definition, the alleviation or lightening of oppressive stressors, and then it gives you physical signals like gasping, trembling hands, slumping posture, a slow smile, using humor to lighten the mood, shaky laughter, sagging against a wall or a person, stumbling back a step. It gives you all these examples of what your character can physically do when they are feeling this emotion. And after all those examples, it then gives you internal sensations such as weak muscles, an unexpected release of all tension, tears welling up behind your eyelids, a sudden lightness or giddiness, like stuff I personally don't consider when I'm writing a relieved character, if that makes sense. Then after that comes mental responses, with examples such as wanting to be held, gratitude, jumbled thoughts, just stuff I don't consider. And then it even gives you cues of acute or long-term relief, breaking down, tears, exuberant responses, like jumping up and down, shouting, hysterical crying, collapsing, lightheadedness, and then it says, may escalate to, and it gives you different emotions, happiness, excitement, gratitude, and then just an extra fun thing, it gives you the page number that you can find those emotions on, so that, you know, if you're writing a character who's relieved and you see may escalate to excitement, you know, maybe you don't know how to write excitement, you can turn to, you know, that page. And then we have cues of suppressed relief, like briefly closing the eyes, or swallowing and nodding, or not thinking about it, putting it off to savor later. And it's just, like I said, little things I personally never thought of that really make a lot of sense. It's kind of like, for a while when I was writing, I got in this habit of not including, like, the senses, like, or only including, like, sight, you know, when everyone knows, you know, there are other senses like hearing, sound, smell, and for some reason I was in this rut where I would not ever reference any of the other senses, and once I realized, you know, how to do that, I don't want to say how because that feels really stupid, but once I remembered that was a thing, it made all the difference in my writing, just like I feel like this will. And then on every page it has this little gray box at the bottom with a writer's tip. This one says, when a character is hiding an emotion, the cues are not as noticeable. In this circumstance, it's often more effective to show the emotion through change, altering a speech pattern, falling back on habits, posture shifts, etc. And each page has like a different writer's tip. Like this one, let me find a short one. Prime readers for an emotional experience by describing the mood of a scene as your character enters it. If your character is antsy, the reader will be too. Which, I'm sure to a lot of people, those kind of tips can be like, obvious, you know, like, duh, I knew that. How are you a writer and you didn't know that? But like I said, it's stuff I don't, oh my god, there's a bee outside. It's stuff I don't think of, and then I look at this and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing, and that's just really, really helpful for me personally. And so, for the positive trait thesaurus, the example I picked is quirky, just because, I don't know, it's fun. And it does seem like one of those that can go either way, depending on how you write your character, so I just was kind of interested, you know. But yeah, so this thesaurus, you can already see that it has way more, like, text. So it gives you the definition. Excuse me, I'm sure you all know what quirky means. Then it gives you similar attributes like eccentric, peculiar, unconventional, and then it gives you possible causes like immaturity, craving attention, you know, these all, it's interesting, these all seem like they would make a bad character, if that makes sense. So that's interesting to me. Then it gives you associated behaviors, wearing unconventional clothing combinations, exhibiting peculiar habits, embracing one's weirdness, flouting the rules, confidence, independence, doing even mundane tasks a little differently than others. It's, you know, it is a pretty big list, and I think that's great because it allows you to really nail your character's personality and the reason for their personality. I have struggled in the past when I've told myself, oh, I want to write, you know, a character who is, I don't know, analytical, but then I don't actually know like how analytical people behave because I myself am not analytical, and it's not really a word I would, you know, use to describe any of my friends, so I don't have any examples, I guess. But this book gives you, you know, gives you what you need. And so then after associated behaviors, it has associated thoughts, with examples like, most people wouldn't put these clothes together, but I think they look awesome, or, I don't know why everyone liked Avatar so much, I thought it was dumb. Same though. Today I'm not going to speak, instead I will sing. Not gonna lie, that might get annoying really quick, but you know, someone might be able to make it endearing with the right character. And then we have associated emotions, like amusement, anxiety, confidence, determination, embarrassment, satisfaction, and then also they include positive aspects and negative aspects. So like I said, this is one of those traits that it can go either way. You know, either this character can be like really cool and fun and people like him or her, or they can be very, you know, annoying. So for like positive aspects, it says, no one expects them to act conventionally, so maybe they can get away with things that others can't. Because they are easily stereotyped, they are often underestimated or overlooked by society at large. Their tendency to think outside the box enables them to see problems from a different angle. But then under negative aspects, while everyone has something to offer, the gifts of a quirky person are not often sought out or graciously received. Ain't that the truth? These characters are easily misunderstood and viewed with suspicion, which makes them convenient scapegoats. And their strangeness usually ensures that they live on the outskirts, you know, of a community and fellowship. And then we have an example from film, and I flipped through this like I have been reading it, and some pages have examples from films, others have examples from like literature or other forms of pop culture, but Quirky has an example from film, probably a pretty good one. It is Willy Wonka from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or if you are like me and prefer Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But Willy Wonka, his clothes are outlandish, he has the Oompa Loompas, you know. Through his words and his actions, it's clear that he lives outside of society's norms, but he does so with complete confidence. But because he's known as a quirky guy, people take it all in stride. And then they have like other examples from film. I've seen neither of these films, but Spike from Notting Hill and Tish Ambrose from Space Camp. Again, I've seen none of those, so I can't speak to those characters. But then we have traits in supporting characters that may cause conflict. So characters with these traits, you know, might be at odds with a quirky character that you create. And those traits are diplomatic, fussy, proper, responsible, and sophisticated. So I like that it gives you like, it kind of is setting you up for some character drama, because maybe you don't even realize you have a character who's fairly responsible, maybe a little bit fussy, but then you see that and then you start imagining like, oh, if this character had a quirky friend that, you know, to play off of them, and then you already are building this conflict, I guess, in your mind. So I think it's very inspiring, not gonna lie. And then, I feel like I didn't notice this one, all of them, but we have challenging scenarios for the quirky character. Living in a strict society with zero tolerance for individuality, experiencing a situation where one has to conform in order to achieve one's goals, or, you know, having a goal that conflicts with one's offbeat nature, such as wanting to be popular, etc. And so it really, like I said, it lets you build this background and this history as to why your character is the way that they are, and then it gives you, not necessarily prompts, it gives you like these challenging scenarios that you can use to your advantage in the future. And I really enjoy it. So I'll try not to make this one too long. The trait I picked for the negative trait, Thesaurus, is cynical, because I rate a lot of cynical characters, but I sometimes have a problem where I don't want my character to be an asshole, I just want them to be cynical, and sometimes I struggle to, I guess, find that balance, so I thought maybe this would help. So like the positive trait, when it gives you the definition, gives you a similar flaw, which for cynical they use jaded, and then it gives possible causes like a past betrayal, or a history of being shot down despite putting forth one's best efforts. Disillusionment, a fear of being hurt or disappointed. So again, associated behaviors and attitudes, such as hesitating to try anything new, employing sarcasm, disdaining anyone gullible enough to be duped, apathy, expecting people to break their promises. I love writing cynical characters, even when they turn out to be assholes. So I'm looking at this list and it's like, I don't know, delicious. Then we have associated thoughts. It's like, things are just going from bad to worse. Why do they bother trying? Nothing's going to change. They have associated emotions, anxiety, contempt, doubt, skepticism, suspicion. Those aren't all. I hope you know these aren't all. I just kind of am picking and choosing. And then, like before, we have positive and negative aspects. Like, positive, they're hard to dupe because they're not gullible. They don't believe in perfection, so they don't expect things to work out flawlessly. They have low expectations. Negative aspects. It wears on others and brings them down. It impacts friends and family. He doesn't... I'm saying he because this book is using he, but you know, they don't learn from others or really grow the same way a non-cynical character would. And then their example from film, which I did not know until I picked this page, is Han Solo from Star Wars. And they give a little background, but unfortunately the new Star Wars movies, everything conflicts, so I'm not going to read all of it. But basically, life taught Han Solo that people are fickle, governments are tyrannical, and the only person he can count on is himself. And Chewie. But then other examples from film and literature. Rick Blaine from Casablanca, Benjamin from Animal Farm, and I'm probably going to butcher this, I've never seen the movie. Etienne Navarre from Lady Hawk. I'm interested in the story of Lady Hawk, I've just never watched it. And then we have overcoming this trait as a major flaw. And it gives you, like, obviously, as the name would imply, like a little snippet as to how your character could overcome this trait to the point where, yeah, they're still going to be cynical, but it's not going to be this major flaw that drags down their character. Like, the character may learn to trust other associates and recognize that their doubt is sometimes misplaced, and that not everyone is worthy of suspicion and disdain. And then we have traits in supporting characters that may cause conflict, just like in the positive trait Thesaurus. And so a character that might be at odds with a cynical character could be evasive and gullible, hypocritical, optimistic, maybe too trusting. So yeah, that was the negative trait and the positive trait and the emotion of Thesaurus. And I really do recommend these. They've just been really fun to look at and, like I said, really inspiring to kind of, like, it's probably all my years of role-playing on Tumblr, but as I'm like scrolling, oh my god, I am way too like connected to the internet, but as I'm like going down the list of like associated behaviors with certain traits, I'm immediately starting to build a character in my head, like yeah, they'll do this and they'll do that, and I already have this clear picture in my head. So if you are having trouble making characters, the positive and negative trait thesauruses might even just be a good way for you to flex your brain muscles and create a brand new character with just a handful of traits. And you never know, it might actually like go really far and you might have the best character you've ever had. So, like I said, I don't have all of them. So it looks like there is 6 so far in the Writers Helping Writers series. And let me see, positive trait thesaurus, negative trait thesaurus, emotion thesaurus, the urban setting, the rural setting, and then there's one more that I might actually have to get, called the Emotional Wound Thesaurus, which is a writer's guide to psychological trauma. That one definitely could be very helpful, so I might have to look into that one. But for now, this video is way too long. I just wanted to make a quick video that was not a camp vlog and not a writing vlog. But yeah, so like I said, I just wanted to share those books with you because I really like them and they're really fun. And I'm not like sponsored or anything. They aren't going to be affiliate links, but I am going to link the books down below so you can check them out if you want. They're available on Kindle as well. And yeah, so I think that is it for me today for this video. So again, if you are new to my channel, welcome. I am very excited to be able to share my love of writing with everyone. And I'm gonna go. So like, comment, and subscribe, all that fun stuff. Tell me down below if you've ever read these books, or do you have like the urban setting or the rural setting thesauruses? Do you think they're worth it? I typically do have a lot of problems with setting, but I don't know, I care more about characters, so that's why I bought these books. But yeah, so let me know what you think of these books down below, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.